Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark, and welcome to the News Hour. We're a little early this week. There's the big game, because we do not have license to say what it is. The big game is on Sunday, and my beloved Philadelphia Eagles are going to take down Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I want to be able to celebrate all night. So we're doing the News Hour on Friday here. So a little bit short in terms of news and what I've been playing as well. So there's probably going to be a more truncated episode here, but I wanted to get this out so that there is a podcast out there for Monday. If any big stories break, I may cut in on... You might hear an additive to the end. It takes some editing on my part to cut myself in. But, yeah, it'll be a weird transition. You'll see it. I'll do it, and we'll add anything. I don't think anything huge is going to come over the weekend. Unless it's the story that I'm going to lead with in the news turns out to be a gigantic fucking deal. Then we will have to talk about that as things develop. So anyway, what I've been playing. On stream, we got through another area of Adventure Island. That game is getting more and more intriguing as we get deeper into it. And I'm seeing a pattern of how the game works. Usually, first two levels are pretty simple. They just require execution. Third level is a lot of enemies and kind of tough. The third one is the platforming puzzle one, where you learn a different platforming thing. Like we learned in the ice one that, jump immediately, don't land and then jump. Like, just keep jumping. They taught me that. And yeah, so we're getting through that. And then the fourth one is usually one with a lot of enemies, and then the boss. Thankfully, the way we're doing it with save states, I'm going to have the fire forever. So that allows me to eliminate boulders and stone things that I can trip over. So it makes it a little bit easier. But I'm just intrigued by what any changes will be and what the actual ending is. So yeah, we'll finish up with that. And then let's see. Not me, but Tom is one step closer to the end of Chrono Trigger. We got everyone's ultimate weapon and found a new character to put in our final party. So we now have a strong-ass party. We're going to go get her defense items to make her as strong as possible. So that has been fun. Outside of this, NCAA. So I'm playing through that. Still, I'm at Boise State. I'm hoping to go lower. Next set of things that come around. But I'm probably going to get into the playoff again. Greatest college football coach of all time. So I'm playing through that. I played a little more Balatro. I'm almost caught up to where my phone and the computer are synced. I think I got one more deck. I think I got to do the abandoned deck, which is the one that has no face cards on the PC, and then we should be even. But yeah, that game's fun to just pick up and play for a couple hours or an hour. I watched the speedrunner. That was freaking crazy. If you want to go check that out. Showed off some decks I'm excited to play in there. No, besides that, it was just, watching Let's Plays of things and watching old Let's Plays of this guy to kind of understand some of the Trails stories. And me, Jen, and Tom were reminiscing about some of the inside bits that we had during the first playthrough of Trails in the Sky. Because Estelle growls a lot, like grrr is like a line she has a lot. Me and Jen had started a bit that she was going to turn out to be a werewolf. And we found out that we had Tom convinced that had happened in the game because it happened so long ago. It was one of those things that we said it so much that it just clicked in his head that was true and it happened 5 years later. So that was pretty fun reminiscing on that. Game is still as horny as ever, so I'm excited to get back into it. I'm gonna play it before this releases. We'll do house cleaning at the end of this segment. But yeah, not much on that front. Hey, Goat, thanks for following. And welcome in. We're just finishing up the first part of this podcast. It's going to probably be a shorter one of these, because I've only had about 4 days and haven't really had much time. You know, I had a bowling, I had D&D, I had TC Tam, then Tom's Chrono Trigger, so I haven't had time to play much outside of what you guys see. And this Saturday, I have to do the wrestling clock. That's fine. Welcome in. We know you've been following us in spirit, if you hadn't officially been following us, Goat. Yeah, so I really haven't had time, and this Saturday I have to do the clock for the wrestling at the college I work for. So my Saturday's completely bunked, which will lead us right into our house cleaning stuff before we get into the news. So for those of you watching live on Twitch, this will mean nothing to the YouTube people. Hello, YouTube people. I love you. Or the people listening on the podcast, because you would have already seen this. If you're planning on being here tomorrow for the normal Saturday Night RPG, where we're playing Trails in the Sky, second chapter, that'll be moved to noon on Sunday, because that is our first story, Goat. I'm going to report that real fast, because God knows if that turns into a bigger thing, I want us to at least have acknowledged it. Yeah, so we're moving it to noon on Sunday before the Super Bowl. Just because tomorrow that thing is not going to get over to like 6 or 7, the wrestling thing. And then I have some family stuff. We had planned a trip. Hey, Metal Militia. We had planned a trip, but my wrestling thing made it impossible, and then my sister's car broke down. So we're just going to go to her house and hang out instead of doing the trip thing. Which is why I knew I was out of the trip, but then when she backed out, it changed the plans for Trails in the Sky. But I do want to play it, so I'm going to try and play it Sunday at noon. Again, this means nothing to the YouTube people or the a timer thing. The ESAC or GSAC, I think it's GSAC, it might be GSAC. Junior College Wrestling Division III Championships are at Camden County College. So I am doing the clock for that. And that takes about 6 hours, because there's 4 teams, 4 meets, 10 wrestlers each. So depending on how good they are, and with breaks and stuff, probably 4 or 5 o'clock is when probably should get out of there. And if everything goes long and everybody wrestles all 3 periods, then we're looking at 6:30. So anyway, Trails in the Sky, Sunday at noon. If I do it, it's like 95% I'm going to do it. 5% depends on how Saturday night goes. And then we'll be back Monday with Adventure Island, hopefully celebrating on that stream as well. And then Thursday, we're going to finish up some side quests and maybe finish Chrono Trigger. And then we'll be back for Sunday or Saturday, Tits on Stream on Saturday. And then the news hour will be on Sunday. So little crazy schedule here this week, but we should be getting back into a rotation once February hits. And then next Friday, the 21st, is going to be the first Should We Stream It game. Avowed, I believe, comes out on February 18th. So I'm going to get that. I had that pre-downloaded on Game Pass, and I'm going to play it on Friday, and we'll see if we'll turn it into a stream game. We'll see how good it is. Those Friday night things might end up being like we switch back and forth between games. It's just, we're going to figure out what exactly that thing is, but it is going to be Friday nights that I'm going to debut the new game, and then we'll decide what I'm going to do with it. So, yeah, so that first one will be February 21st. Mark that on your calendar. All right, let's get into the news. And as Goat pointed out, yes, PSN is down. Currently, right now, as of 9:45 Eastern Time on Friday, February 7th, PSN apparently is still down because Goat was going to stream on PlayStation and cannot. So maybe it's up by the time I'm even talking about this. I don't have time to research it while we're doing this. But yeah, so I'm only really mentioning it here as a PSA sort of thing for the people watching live. And just in case if it turns into a bigger story, I can edit this in before Monday, before we drop the podcast on Monday with updates to it. So at some point, you may see like a fade at the end when I say moving on. I might do like a little blur, and if it turns into a huge story, yeah. So if it turns into a huge story, as Goat says, it's still down and it's been down since 7:30. So with Eastern time here. So yeah. So that's the only reason I led with this, because it makes a nice good edit point where I can add any updates to it. So moving on to our next story. The Switch 2 Direct now has a date and time. It is Wednesday, April 2nd. I think we knew that. But it is going to be 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Just so you know, no, we will not be watching that live. We may do something Wednesday night, depending on what my Wednesday schedule is. We may watch a Wednesday night, or we may watch a Thursday. But it may just be us reflecting on it if we don't do it Wednesday. Me and Tom, if Tom's available to do it. So, yeah, this will be... Nintendo said that they'll use the Direct to share a closer look at Switch 2. So, maybe... Excuse me. Maybe there'll be some software? No, my apologies. I swallowed my own spit. Choking on it. Give me 1 second. There we go. Sorry about that. For audio listeners, that'll probably be cut out. But I'm sorry for the video and live viewers there. I swallowed my own spit thing and it's like started choking, so, and had a coughing fit. So, just to let you know why I sound a little weird to the audio people. That is why. Then trying to recover here. So, April 2nd. Notably, after fiscal year, which is an obvious thing, meaning that it'll probably come out at the end of the year if they are doing it in 2025. But 9 a.m. if you want to get up and watch it. And you're on the East Coast. If you're on the West Coast, it's 6 a.m., so have fun. And as Tom mentions in chat, Switch 2 mouse confirmed. There was a patent and all that stuff. I think that might be in one of the stories or not. I don't know if I found the patent story here, but yeah, so really what it comes down to for me for Switch 2 in terms of getting it day one, if you can even get it day one, is software. I want to know what's launching with it. If it is not a new Mario or a new Zelda, or if it's not Wind Waker, I will wait on it until one of those things occurs. Like I waited, I waited because it was hard to get Switches in 2017 to play Breath of the Wild. But yeah, this is going to go a long way to deciding if I go day one with it. So be ready. We're going to have coverage of this as well. So moving on. Obviously, you're asking, how much will it cost? Analysts think it'll cost about $400 when it comes out. And the Nintendo's Furukawa-san responded to that question on the price range, and he said, "We are aware that in addition to how inflation is currently proceeding, the exchange rate environment has also changed significantly since around the time we launched the Nintendo Switch in 2017. We also need to consider the price range that consumers expect for Nintendo products. We think a multifaceted consideration of these factors is needed when deciding on the price of a product. I cannot tell you a specific price for Nintendo Switch 2 at this time, but we are taking various factors into account." And Nintendo's in a weird situation here with everything that's going on in terms of inflation around the world. If any of the dumbass tariffs affect this, that our wonderful leader is doing, that may decide a price. But I think they cannot go above that $399 price. I don't think you can justify putting Switch 2 unless it is like better than a Steam Deck. You cannot justify it being on the level of the highest Steam Deck. Yeah, $349, $399. That's got to be max, because you get into the higher end Steam Decks, and they're $549. You can, at worst, and I don't know if you agree with me, Metal Militia. At worst, I see $450, $499. At absolute worst. Like I said, I don't think you can cross that $500 mark just because of the Steam Deck. Because you couldn't justify it. And I don't think Nintendo's games are as popular to justify getting into the $500 price range for this. It would have to be a ridiculous level of machine that Nintendo has never produced. So, we're probably looking $350 to $450. Yeah. Like I said, $499 is the tops. That's the absolute tops. I think it gets into the head when you cross $500. It's an old trick that me and my real estate property management rental day job. You can put there's a very distinct difference when you put a rent at 11, say for an apartment, $11.95. There's a distinct difference for some reason mentally to people that see $11.95 and will apply, but if they see $1,200, they will not apply. And I think Nintendo needs to understand that, and they probably do. They've been in business a lot longer. They can't have a 5 in that first letter. They have a numeral. If they have a 5 in that first numeral, they are shooting themselves in the foot like the PS3. So, yeah, it would need to be ridiculous to even consider it, and I think having a 5 there would kill it. That's just my opinion, my thoughts. I don't know any of the component cost or any of that stuff to where they might need to go higher, but I don't think they can do that. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they announce that. I'm wondering if they'll announce price and date at Summer Games Fest. And it'd be like September or October release. Hey, Night Duck. September, October release. They do the software now. Here are the games that we're going to be coming with it. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But that's the retailer's things. But when Nintendo goes on stage, it's the whole thing with when they present it and they say the price. You can't say a price that turns people off. It's the old PlayStation 3, trap you don't want to fall into. These retailers can do whatever they want, and people will know that. But when they're on stage or on the direct, with Nintendo behind them, they cannot say more than $4.99. So, yeah, and welcome to the chat. But yeah, so I'm thinking we'll get the games at this thing, and then we'll get the and self-imposed scarcity, of course. It's Nintendo. And then at Summer Games Fest, we'll get a direct there that'll be price and release date. That'd be my thing. I mean, Night Duck, if they make it $4.20, I will buy it no matter what the game's coming out. Just if they market it at exactly $4.20, I will buy it day one no matter what's coming out. And you have me on video holding me to that. It has to be exactly $4.20. $420.69, I'm day one, like immediate purchase. But yeah. All right. So speaking of games, just a real quick thing that I saw fun here that across the internet. Sakurai mentioned the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and everybody freaked out thinking there's going to be a new Smash Brothers. So maybe, but they may just bring Ultimate up, or improve it or do something. I don't think that man is working on another Smash Brothers. I don't know what you could do to make another Smash Brothers. I mean, there's always things you could do, but I don't know what you would do that would make it. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe there is, but people are getting excited about possibly. Maybe he has another game. Maybe it's a new game. Who knows? That's why Sakurai mentioned this. But this is what I love about a new console release, is all these wild and crazy things that go on. So, yeah, maybe it is a Smash Brothers coming out. Who knows? Moving on. We started with Sony, talking about PSN being down, and then somehow on the PlayStation Store, they leaked the release date for Metal Gear Solid Delta. They had a trailer on there that looks like it's the trailer that's going to be on the Direct, and it says it's going to release on August 28th, 2025, which, hell yeah. This was the funniest story that I've seen this week, because it very much felt like it happened, and then everybody was sort of like, shit, and just kind of was hoping nobody would notice. And it mentions an Ape Escape is mentioned in there, and it was just wild. Yeah. So, I think, if anything, I think this means there's definitely a state of play next week. That this trailer is ready to go and all that. And, yeah. The other fun news, I didn't see it in the news here, but, to pull a story on it, but I'll mention it here since we're mentioning Metal Gear. Apparently, Peggy has rated Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which means that game's done, essentially, or pretty close to gold, if not gold. So that could be coming out this year. I was always bookmarking 2026 for that game, but I guess so. Kojima's probably working on some trailer for Summer Games Fest, but that was wild news that I saw as well. But yeah, so Metal Gear Delta coming out August 28th. It may also be in the the Switch too. It might pop up on there. So we don't have. Well, it's going to keep us waiting. Speaking of other release news, Grand Theft Auto 6 Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I brought this up. Grand Theft Auto is still set for release this year, which is another reason why I think Death Stranding is coming in 2026. I thought spring 2026, perfect time to drop it. Because you can get the Game Awards bump from Keighley and all that. So if he's got a PEGI rating and coming out in the fall, that's so weird. Wait, it's not Death Stranding on the beach, and we're sure it's not a pachinko machine. Maybe. Who knows? So if Take-Two is feeling good about fall 2025, then I think Kojima or anybody that has a big game just needs to get the fuck out of fall 2025. Once GTA drops its date, there's going to be delays, and you're going to see people scatter from that month, if they can. So as soon as they drop something, I'm expecting Game Awards, not Game Awards, Summer Games Fest for them to drop. Off-track betting. I wouldn't be surprised if that's so funny. Yeah. The acronyms are going to be great, because he's going to start calling it Death Stranding OTB, and you can do exactly that, off-track betting. But yeah, so as you can see, Andrew Wilson's even said that he is willing to delay the new Battlefield out of the next fiscal year just so it doesn't compete with competitors' games. So there's already one person going, yeah, fuck, whenever GTA is out, we are getting the fuck out of there. So this is going to be a giant bomb that's going to be dropped as soon as the release date is mentioned, and you will see news occur at that point. So we'll probably have to wait till June for that. But yeah, this was exciting that this may be coming this year as well. And the final two stories. Fun thing from Steam that I saw. I don't know why it took them so long to do this, but now when you go into an early access game that hasn't been updated for a while, it warns you that, hey, they haven't updated or given you us an update in this game in more than 18 months, or more than a year, or more than 2 years. So don't pay attention to the timeline for 1.0 in here. Yeah, it's just sort of like, yeah, it's just yeah, they need to drop this in here so people don't steal money, essentially, for early access games. But, you know, they're not going to stop selling it because they'll take the money, but they just going to be like, hey, I know you can read, and the developers thing says this is going to be released in this November 2024, and it's February 2025, and the game is not out yet. Yeah, it's you just gotta have a prominent label in there, like you should be able to read, but we're going to give you this label, like the Surgeon General's thing, or whatever that thing they put on the front of cigarettes that was like real big and huge, warning about it. But hey, this might just be the game. It's never going to get updated again. Just letting you know before you purchase it. So they should have done this a while ago, and I'm glad to see they're actually doing it. So yeah, just for those of you that do Steam Early Access, you'll probably really happy about this. And finally, like I said, it's a short night. There wasn't much news that's happened in 4 days. Well, as we always do, we let you know about the first wave of Game Pass games. We did PlayStation. I think we did PlayStation last week. So Xbox has their first wave. Some of these games are already out. As of, I think most of them are already out. So Far Cry New Dawn is coming to console, cloud, and PC. So you can get that on Ultimate, PC Game Pass, and Standard. Another Crab's Treasure is now, you can get that with Game Pass Standard. uh, Eiyuden? I'll let my pronunciation guide in the chat help me with that. Chronicles, 100 Heroes. That is now with Standard. Eiyuden. Thank you, Night Duck. This next one, Starfield? No, I'm just kidding. Starfield. You can now get that with Standard. You don't need Ultimate anymore. Madden 25 is coming on February 6th. You know, the week after the Super Bowl, or the day before the Super Bowl, or like, I guess yesterday. Like, they usually put it out right before the Super Bowl. If you have Ultimate and PC Game Pass. Kingdom 2 Crowns is Ultimate and Standard on the 13th. And Avowed, which I mentioned is going to be the first game of our new segment on February 21st, is coming out on the 18th for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. So, yeah, so if you're interested in any of those games, those are all mostly out by now. Or if you've been waiting for Starfield to go to Standard because you didn't want to purchase it, I highly recommend Little Crab's Treasure if you have Game Pass Standard. Have not tried it out. That game's pretty good. And yeah, so yeah, Avowed's going to be Friday. If you want to make it your stream game, Tom, let me know. But I'm going to play it as part of my new thing on Friday. Because I'm going to be playing it as well. Just let me know. Because I have like 4, 5, 6 games coming out that are going to be part of that new show we're doing Fridays. So I don't need to take control of every game that comes out and stream it. But yeah. Oh, are you? Okay. Go ahead. Perfectly fine with me. Yeah. But yeah. So Avowed's the first one, and then it's like South of Midnight and Doom and things like that. Not Civ, because I don't think Civ's a good single-person stream game. But yeah. So there you have it. That is the news. Let's go back to Big Mark here. Yeah, so just to recap, we won't be back for News Hour until Sunday the 16th, I think, yes. Yeah, Sunday the 16th. So there'll be a lot of news in there, and we might have a PlayStation thing, and there might be more Nintendo stuff, and that's going to have a lot of news in it, so that might be a longer show. And I might play a lot more things between now and then, because I will have more time to do that. So yeah, this one's a little bit shorter than usual. I do apologize, about a half hour or so. But we wanted to get this in because I am not available on Sunday night after like 4 p.m. Go Birds. But I will be 95% sure I will be back on Sunday at noon to play about 2 hours of Trails in the Sky. My Saturday plans got all messed up with certain things happening that I'm now not available Saturday night. So we'll just do it Sunday morning. And we will make sure we'll, get a couple hours in before I get ready for the football. Well, football, not football. It's, and watch the sports ball. So, yeah. That would be not this podcast. We mainly just deal in video games. I will probably see the new Captain America, so I'll probably mention it on here. I won't do a full review. If we mention it or do it anywhere, we have a sister podcast called They Called Us a Movie, where we watch older movies and some newer movies and do reviews and stuff over there. So be sure to check that out. It's anywhere you get podcasts. But here it's just strictly video games. I may talk about movies and stuff, but no review. I don't want to give any promises or things that I don't do here. First time in the chat, and I just want to set expectations. If there was a new Captain America video game, then I may review it, but not movie. But I will see it. So I think I can do Movie Pass. So I may be able to do my monthly expenditure on Civ 7 and be able to still watch Captain America. So, yeah, thank you for joining us for first time here. Like I said, this is normally a Sunday night thing. It's going to be a whole different stream that goes here going forward. So be sure to check back. We'll be back, like I said, on Sunday, and we're usually here Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday going forward. So really just Tuesday and Wednesdays, we're not here. So feel free to come in, hang out anytime. It's usually Metal Militia, Night Ducker here with me, and Goat shows up sometimes, and we have a good time. And then when Roxy Foxy, I recommend if you like horror games, go check out Roxy Foxy. She'll raid me, but yeah. So again, thank you guys for joining me. I know it's a shorter episode than normal, but I knew that going in. So I hope you guys have a good weekend, have fun, and go Birds.